Oh, goodness. Hello, 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 everybody. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Can I get a confirmation? Okay, yes, that's a yes. That's a yes. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh. I was so happy that Teresa needed that extra time because, to be perfectly honest with you, um, I ran in the house at 10 minutes till 6, trying to make it here and to do my show on time. I run in here, I cut on my computer. I was not set up at the time. I don't know that I'm still set up. I was just totally am not ready. Um, but I know that my commitment to being here is what counts, and that's what the Holy Spirit needs in order to access my awareness and to say exactly what I need to say. So I don't even worry about I know it's a shame. I value your attention. Don't get me wrong. I love you guys and I value your attention. But I know that it's something bigger than me that is operating through me doing this. So I just commit to showing up, and that's what I'm doing. So I was totally not ready. So, Teresa, everything is in divine order. And you were supposed to have that extra time, and it all worked out just like it should. So I'm glad for that. You guys, I've got my Ustream channel up because since Teresa needed extra time, I had a chance to set up Ustream. So ustream.tv/ Sandra Said It. I am on there now. I've got my camera going and I am recording this. Even though I haven't figured out yet how to do an audio recording, I'm recording this. So it all just works out just so marvelously great. So hello, hello, hello. So here we go. Let me start off like I normally do, just so I can set myself straight. With the introduction to A Course in Miracles, you guys know that this is found at the beginning of the book, right behind, it's behind the table of contents, but in front of the text. It's nestled right there in the middle, and it's just simply like a paragraph and a couple of lines, but this is how it goes. And you guys know I'm doing this from memory, so if I get a word or two wrong, don't hold it against me. Just love me anyway. It reads like this. This is a course in miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Freeing the will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The aim of the course is not to teach the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing your blocks to your awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all encompassing can have no opposites. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Oh, don't you love that? Herein lies the peace of God. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So, just for a moment, when I was reciting that introduction to the Course in Miracles, I'm always conscious of explaining to people that beginning line up there. Oh, let me find my glasses. That says that this is a required course. This is a course in miracles. It is a required course. So I like to always, whenever I'm talking to somebody, especially somebody who is new to the course, I like to talk about it in terms of this being a required course, and not because the foundation or anybody, assumed that everybody would have access to a book called A Course in Miracles. To the contrary, what I do believe is that, and I say this frequently, that this is a course in life. And the naming the Course in Miracles is simply for us to recognize that these are life lessons that each of us throughout our lifetime at some point or other will encounter. It is our soul's journey, our soul's trajectory to grow to something. So it's not about, so, we talk about the course, but it's not about the Course in Miracles per se, but rather the course in your life that we are all on. So whoever you are, wherever you are, life is here to teach us certain lessons that we must learn. Lessons that are woven into the very fabric of our lives, and that teach us how to deal with one another. So for all of us, and okay, so I'm looking at, because I got all these things here. What is required is that we all forgive. Forgiveness is the path to heaven. But let me say this, that we are in heaven. You are going to heaven. There is no other place for you to be, regardless of whether or not you get it now or you get it later. We are all on our way. We are all always in this thing called God. And regardless of what you think, what you may have done in your life, this required course is here to show you that it says in here, you need do nothing. All you need to do is know that you are taking this course in miracles. It is a required course. So it's funny, I used to tell people all the time, we used to summarize or try to summarize the Bible. And we would say, well, what is it? What is it? What is it that you think that Jesus's life was all about? I mean, all through the New Testament, from the time that he came on the scene, and the word was made flesh and dwelled among us, to Revelations. What do you think that the course, what do you think that the lesson, what do you think that the mission Jesus was on was to teach us? And it is just this very thing, that says that you are loved. You are loved, and you are loved without condition, without reservation, that love is. And so, so it gets us beyond this perception of us and our separateness to us and our fullness, meaning us and the entire sonship together, recognizing and understanding that we are all Baba's children. I mean, just all of us. And so nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. We get to that place. We get to that place through our growth and through the lessons that we learn. So whether you're taking the Course in Miracles, whether you're considering yourself to be a Christian, whether you are, and I will even say that whether you're Muslim or Islam or Judaism or whatever it is, this whole thing is about you recognizing the truth about yourself and this universe, that the kingdom of God is at hand. And so, it's like we want to separate, and we want to, over here and say this over there and blah, 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 blah. But if we go down to the base of the matter, all we're here to do is remove the blocks to our awareness of love's presence, which is our natural inheritance. The main truth, the only truth, is love. And I love that. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So it is, so it becomes this thing, like, when it says free will does not mean that we can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. I say this over and over again, that when you can either, it says that we must learn. So I remember this whole analogy that I got when they talked about faith versus faith. 8. And it says, either we get our lessons willingly, or fate comes along and drags us down a corridor to the end that we were intended to get to anyway. So either we go willingly, or life will drag us down a particular path. So on that note, before I go back and start reading, because I see the board is just a light up here. Before I go back and start reading that, I want to say to you guys that today, 4 weeks ago today, I called Dove, and I was telling Dove that the ambulance was at my father's house. I was at my father's house. It was just craziness, because my father had experienced this massive hemorrhage in his brain, and so that brain hemorrhage had him 4 weeks in ICU. And we have been there. I have been there every single day of this journey, this last 4 weeks at the hospital with my dad. We've had 2 surgeries, and it's been a long journey. But today, we transferred my dad to a rehab center. He is still not fully functioning. He is still laying there with eyes open, being responsive, in that he has an awareness of what's going on around him, even though he's not yet able to interact. And so this damage and injury to his brain has been so significant that it has taken this giant of a man that I know, has taken him down for the moment, but has not counted him out. And so through the last 4 weeks, we've had this up and down journey of the doctors telling us that we needed to pull the plug, and us refusing to do so because we have faith not just in God, but in our Father. So we had all this faith. And so today he was put into a rehab center, and he looks so much better and so at peace, even though he's not able to communicate anything to us as of yet. So I do appreciate all of your prayers, all of your support, all of the energy that has come my way, because it has just been, I've been so blessed and so overwhelmed with it. But it's also so rich in that it gives us this another look into spirit, into our spiritual lives, into God, into the power of faith. And I've said from day one, I don't know what this is supposed to look like. I don't know that my father is supposed to survive this and come out walking, or I don't know any of that stuff. It's not for me to know. What is for me to do is what is before me to do. Just put one foot in the front of the other and hold, and like Moses in that movie. Remember the movie, The 10 Commandments? Just like Moses, he stood up on that rock, and he opened up his arms, and he said, behold, witness the power of God. And sometimes I know that all I need to do is stand and behold, and just witness, just like all the rest of us are doing, the power of love, the power of God. However you want to express that, just behold and witness. And as we witness, bear witness to somebody else about what we've experienced in our life. And that's really what we can do. It's knowing a certain truth. I know the truth. So whether he's in this life or out of this life, I know the truth. But behold, behold, I'm so excited about all of this. You guys, I love you guys for being here and going through this journey, because for every day, ever since, because like I said, it was 4 weeks ago. It was 4 weeks ago today. So I showed up on that Wednesday to do my show. I showed up the next Tuesday and Wednesday, and I showed up, and I've showed up, and I've shown up. And so you guys have been with me every step of the way, and I so appreciate all the energy and all the love that I've got from you. And this is like a family. And I say that not in the sense that I don't know you're part of my life, part of my sonship, the part of the brotherhood of my life. I know that, but there is a certain intimacy that I feel because of this journey that I've been on. So I so appreciate all of this that you guys have experienced with me. So now let me back up a little bit and read what's on the board, because I have totally not been. Do I need to read all of this stuff? Okay, wow, this is a lot. I don't even know that I can read all this. Jim and Rosie have been off the chain here. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Okay, yes, it's good news. Okay, you know what? Yes, I'm recording this on Ustream, Dove, and but I don't know how to do an audio yet. So it's on Ustream. All I know is I press the button to record on Ustream. So so there. So that's the answer to that. That's what I did see. Sandra, yes, are you recording? He put my name up there in big old letters so I could see it. So I will go back and read this because I know that yeah, I know that you guys are writing some good stuff. Yeah, Rosie relates. Yeah, yeah, and Jim, love transcends distance and time and form, does not need someone's presence to validate its reality. Okay, yeah. So I know. Okay, so Sandra, yes, 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 yes. All of that is me. So you guys, so as I came today, and I was, and I'm so this life lesson, this lesson that I'm going through, that I'm growing through, you would have thought that years ago, that I could say that when my mother was experiencing this, going through this thing with cancer, that I got it. I got it. As a matter of fact, when I used to sit next to my mother's bed, and she had cancer, I had the dreams about her passing, her making her transition, when she went to be with the Lord, however you want to say it. I had dreams about it, so I knew it was coming. And you would think that that I had the lesson back then, and I didn't need to go through this again. Um, and so with my mother, I don't know if I told you guys this story or not. With my mother, I used to go in, because I had left school. I was in college. I was in my last year of college when my mother got sick, and I left school, and I wanted to take care of her. I wanted to be with her every step of the way through her, through her journey. And so, for a while, it was all about, like, what can we do to fight the cancer, blah, 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 blah. And then after a while, I got to this point where it was like I saw where it was going, and I just wanted to make sure that my mother was comfortable, that she was happy, and that I was loving her and surrounding her with as much love as I could. And so I remembered as she really started to dwindle, because she had, I was taking care of, and I know you guys probably don't want to hear all of this stuff, but she had an ostomy bag on one side, she had a feeding tube on another side, then she had another thing where they cut her stomach, and she had her stomach content, as soon as she would put it in her mouth, it would come right out through this other bag. So it was like all of these bags and things I was maintaining because my mother wanted to be at home. She said she didn't want to die in some hospital. She wanted to be at home. So I was maintaining all of this stuff I had gone through, whatever training I needed to do so that I could have my mother at home. So I remember walking into that room. We had painted it a lavender color, and we had just made it look so pretty. And I remember walking into that room and on one day, and I was spending all my time with my mother. I was sleeping on the floor next to her bed at night when she was having a hard night. And and I remember walking in that room one day, and I was thinking to myself, okay, what am I going to talk about today? And I kept thinking to myself, okay, what am I going to talk to my own mother about? And at a certain point, I started asking myself questions like, when you get to a point like that, what really matters? What really matters? And so, at all of a sudden, I think all of us at some point in our lives ask ourselves the question, what really matters? What really matters when you know you're in your last days? What really matters? So, is it, how is the car driving? What's the traffic like? What's the weather like? Is it the news that comes on television? I mean, what is it that really matters? Is it are you worried about at that point whether or not you're saved or not, or who said what at church? I mean, what really matters? And it was at that point that I realized that the only thing that matters is love. Love that you have given and love that you've received. It all boiled down to me to love. That was just if somebody had to burn off all the excess junk that we go through, if somebody had to distill life down into just like just a tiny little drop, love would be what would come out. Love, love. And so without that, without loving, and even Jesus, whether or not he's talking about it in the Course in Miracles or the Old Testaments, when it all boils down to the base matter of it, is love. And so then I asked the question, what blocks us? What blocks us from loving? Why is it that we withhold love? Why is it that we don't give it freely? Why is it that we think that somehow we need to withdraw love? Why is it that we need to, feel like there's got to be some regulation, some that can receive it and some that can't, some that are, privy to it and some that are not, what is that? And if there's something that is like in the way of loving, then what is it that we need to do now to remove it? And that's what this course is teaching us. How to get all the other junk out of the way. How to get all that stuff out of the way. So our ideas about ourselves, our fears, our inferiority, our insecurity, this idea of who deserves our attention or who doesn't, all of that stuff, how do we then move it all out of the way? How do we recognize it, for what it is, for what it's doing, and then move it out of the way? And that's what we have to ask ourselves all the time. How do I move this stuff out of my way? Now, doggone it, I had a page. I was open to a page that I was supposed to. Okay, so here I found it. Whoo, Lord, I found it. Okay, so Rosie, you are like just a typing queen over there. I just wonder how fast you type. You are like on the ball. Okay. So, no. That's not a criticism, sweetie. That's not a criticism. That is a, you are on the ball, like thumbs up, like yay. I couldn't quite do it that fast. I'm not complaining by any stretch of the imagination. Please don't take it that way. So here's the thing. I think that a lot of times we are at war with ourselves. There is a part of us that has this childlike heart that wants to love everything and everybody. We've got this disposition that needs to connect with other people. There's that other part of us, that part of us that's the ego, that part of the ego that says, you know what? I can't love her because she types faster than I do, or because she's got better shoes, or because I like her husband, or because of whatever. I mean, I don't even know why it is that we think that we need to judge other people or withhold ourselves from other people. I have no clue why that is. I know that I try to, and I'll admit this. I'll admit to this one. I sometimes try to mirror people's behavior. The war against yourself. Yes. If you read chapter 1, read chapter 23, the war against yourself. Yes, okay. And you know what? I did that before. Remember, I even did that out of that chapter, The War Against Yourself. So yes, um, so I know that I have in the past tried to mirror people's reactions or mirror people's boundaries that they put up. It's not in my nature. It's not in my nature um to respect where your own insecurities or all of that stuff. It's not in my nature. But if you feel like sometimes that you don't want to talk to me, I sit there and I think like, okay, well then, not that I won't talk to you either. It's not that kind of thing. It's like, well, okay, until you decide that you want to talk to me too, I'll just not talk, that kind of thing. So I have been that person that has respected the boundaries that others put up. But that's not my nature. It's not in my nature to sit there and give into other folks' ideas. Just not. Wait a minute. Let me take this sip. Mm. I'm sipping on my tea. I'm sipping on my tea. Hey, where's Lynn? Have I seen Lynn in a minute? Um, so here, only innocence is strong, nothing else is strong. I love that. Don't you love that? Only innocence is strong, nothing else is strong. Only innocence is strong, nothing else is strong. And you know what? I think I heard the show where she talked about that innocence. But some people would think, or some people would say, and here's what because I remember this when I was younger. I have been one that goes out talking and sermonizing and philosophizing and speaking for years. And I remember how the older people would look at me and they would think to themselves and say to me sometimes that I haven't lived long enough to know anything, that I haven't experienced enough in life to come in and then tell them about life. And so it became this thing where people equated this innocence with inexperience, or inexperience with innocence, or somehow think that if you haven't experienced enough, then you simply don't know. um it's so funny because, okay, so here is where I'm going to make another joke. It's so funny how the Pope is now retiring, and he's saying I want out, and how we look at priests and nuns and all of this stuff, and while to a certain extent for the Catholicism, they have said that they have married or are married to the wives and husbands of God. There is this other part over here that says, how do you truly understand love and love's relationships if you haven't really thrown yourself full tilt into the fires, the passion, the love, that physical love that people have one for another. If you haven't really thrown yourself in there, how do you know about and how can you then talk about this idea of love and love relationships and what it causes one to do had you never experienced it? So, um, so there's a difference, I think, between this idea of being innocent and being inexperienced to have eyes like I always tell people sometimes when I'm going through trouble in my life. I always tell folks I've got rose colored glasses somewhere around here and they are just absolutely awesome. I choose to see life in a certain way and that choice dictates how I respond to everything. So sometimes when I'm getting upset or I feel things going out of kilter, I grab my rose colored glasses. I don't know where they are. They're usually really close at hand right here. These now are blue. But I've got rose colored glasses. I put my rose colored glasses on and I sit there and I wear my rose colored glasses until I get the correction in my vision because I know that the correction is there because I called for the correction. Me picking up my rose colored glasses is symbolic of the fact that you know what my ego mind has reared its head. Now it wants to dictate and say that something here is wrong. Let me put on my glasses to adjust my vision, and once my vision is adjusted, then I can therefore take them off because now I know the truth. And so at times we're all like that. We're all going through this thing of understanding why it is that we are blocking our love that wants to come in, love that wants to flow it through us, be us, all of that other stuff. We're blocking, and why would we be blocking? So, okay, so here is before I even started any of this stuff, innocence is free from egoic ways. Yes, innocence is purity. Innocence is strong. Nothing else is strong. Yes, yes, yes. And so here, oh, I love life. I love life. I love life. So when I opened up the book, when I came in here to sit down, I opened up the book, and where I opened it up to is to the chapter 23, the war against yourself. It was already open here. I'm not kidding, Dove. It's already open here. And the irreconcilable beliefs. So as I was perusing this and I was thinking that, so often I mean, I'm just so overwhelmed sometimes. Let me read this. Let me read for a second for you. Not that I even do it well. But let me read for a second for you because I just want to, and I think it'll calm me down a bit. It says, I'm going to out of irreconcilable beliefs. Um, Let me start off in this second chapter. Do you not realize a war against yourself would be a war on God? Is victory conceivable? And if it were, is this a victory that you would want? Mm. The death of God, if it were possible, would be your death. Mm. Is this a victory? The ego always marches to defeat because it thinks that triumph over you is possible. And God thinks otherwise. This is no war, only the mad belief that the will of God can be attacked and overthrown. You may identify with this belief, but never will it be more than madness. And fear will reign in madness and will seem to have replaced love there. This is the conflict's purpose. This is the conflict's purpose. And to those who think that it is possible, the means seems real. Wow. So, you guys, There is, um, you know what? There is something else. There is something dancing on the corners of my perception of my mind that wants to come out. And it's all about this struggle that we have in our awareness, the struggle up against something else. Um, so let me see. Let me see. I am reminded. I'm reminded of a story that took place. It seems like out of Greek mythology, and I'm trying to place the story. Um, we all hear about these stories of the hero's journey. And it is one of those journeys that, as heroes, it always talks about it in the sense that we find ourselves in a particular place, in a particular setting, whatever your setting may be. You find yourself at home, you find yourself in a church, you find yourself surrounded by whoever may be. I mean, a group of people, whatever. You find yourself in a situation. Then a challenge arises, and that challenge takes you out of your comfort zone, that place that you were, and casts you into a totally different environment. And it is that going through the difficulties that that environment or that new situation brings that brings about the real growth. But then for every journey of growth, there is a circling back. So we go out from where we were and then we circle back till we come home again. And when we come home again, it's almost like that saying that in that book that says you can never step into the same river twice. So that journey that we've gone on has really caused a change in who we are as people. And then when we find ourselves back at home, maybe we're back at home, but home is never the same again because it within the journey we've had certain revelations and recognitions that it's caused a change in the view of our perceptions of ourselves and the world around us in our lives and has changed us forevermore. I mean, in spite of all that we do, when people, ask me how I'm doing and send me these little messages and cards and everything, I'm always saying, well, it would be nice, after 4 weeks to get my life back to normal. But there's going to be a new normal for me. Just like for every one of us, the journey causes us to have a new normal. You can never go back to the same person you were before. Even this course, because it is a course, it's a journey, a life's journey that takes you from where you were to a new place of being. And once you've taken the course, once you've gone through a course or taken a journey, you can never return back to the old way of being again. You are inextricably changed. And even if you don't believe it, it tells you right there in the workbook. Belief is not necessary. It's not required. We only ask that you do the lessons. And if you do the lessons, then the change in you occurs. It's not telling you how to think or what to think or any of that stuff. It's simply asking you to walk the course. And it's taking the journey, the hero's journey that changes us into who we are to become. So this is a journey without end. It's a journey without end. And so this idea that we get to come back home again, yeah, you come back home in a sense, but you're never at home in the old way that you used to be, because now your eyes are open and everything looks different to you. You're a different person because of the journey that you've gone on. And so it becomes this thing of like these irreconcilable beliefs that I've had, that we've all had at times in our lives. We've had these beliefs. And we've had these beliefs that there is something to war against. I shared with you guys before that I used to not want to when I was in the, going to traditional church, I used to not want to be saved because I was thinking to myself that, being saved was so boring. I mean, it was just excruciating. I was like, no way do I want that life. I don't want to be a goody two shoe. Whatever that meant, I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to live my life thinking about the life to come, what was going to happen in the sweet by and by. I didn't want to invest my now moment in the hereafter only. I wanted to be able to live here and now. And so, when I was in that other, when I was there in the traditional religions, I was like, no way am I doing that. No way. I felt like Neo in the Matrix. No way am I doing that. I was like, no, not having it. So now, when I found truth, when I found, when I got into to science of mind and the Course in Miracles and all these other things, and I started figuring out that it wasn't about that. It wasn't about any of the stuff that I thought it was. I got to a point where, and I'll tell you guys this too. I went to when I was. Wow, there's so much stuff that I've been through in my life. It's like, I mean, even as I'm telling you guys, it's like, oh, that's another journey, and that's another road on my journey. It's like this little stretch of highway that I went down, and then that caused me to go down this another stretch. So I went down Highway 59, and then I had to turn onto Highway 27, and then I had to turn on to Highway 79, and then I had to turn. And so all of these are these little stretches of highway that I had to do. Hey, yeah. It was so funny. But all these little stretches of highway that I had to do, it was like this circuitous route that took me to where I am now. I love it. So when I think about it, and I'm thinking about all this stuff that I've been through. So at one point on this stretch of highway, I remember, okay, so this one particular stretch, it was a little stretch that I had to go down. I went to see a psychiatrist. I got a therapist is what I got. And I remember going into this office, and I was at this point in my life, I was saying, you know what, I've got, and I might have told you guys this, I don't know. I was like, I go into the psychiatrist's office, and it was at this little clinic, and they had this, um, they had this panel or this board that did the intake process. So they would have a couple of people that would come in to the intake session, and they would sit down there with you, and they would, they looked really bored, like they needed to be on somebody's couch themselves. I'm sure they probably were. But they had me sit in this room with these other folks, all these people, and they wanted to know, well, why do you think you need to come and see a therapist? And so I said, you know what? I said, I see myself, and I'm like standing there with this like list in my hand. I say, I see myself, and I say, I see that I have all of this talent and all of this potential. And I said, I can do this, I can do that. I know this, I know that. I've got a whole list of stuff here that that's wonderful and good about me. I said, but yet I don't seem to be producing at the level at which my talent says I should be producing, and I want to know why not. That's what I said. I want to know why not. And so, and then I went through this whole thing, and I was giving them my whole spiel because I had thought this out very clearly. I'd written down all the stuff that I thought about, that I needed to be aware of and conscious of. I wrote down all of this stuff. Oh my God, I'm getting short on time. Okay, so let me hurry up. So I wrote down all of this stuff that I thought I was supposed to talk about, and all the stuff that I wanted to do. And they were like, well, can I see that list? And so I gave them my list. And so, they were like, well, Sandra, we've got, a waiting list to get into therapy. It's like 6 months of waiting list and all this stuff. So we'll have to discuss this, and we'll get back to you when we get someone who wants to take your case. So these folks walked out of the room, and they were gone for maybe about 5 minutes while I'm still sitting there. And then all of a sudden, the lady, she comes back into the room, and she shuts the door behind her, and she says, did you see that? And I was like, no, see what? And she was like, they were literally out in the hallway fighting because all of them want to take your case. They all wanted you, and so they all want to work with you. So if you want to start next week, you can start whenever you like. And I'm thinking like, oh, great, right? So this little stretch of highway that I was on required that I go in there and I talk to somebody every single week. And it was so funny because I would just go in and I would sit down and I would talk just like I'm doing to y'all. I just sit there and talk. And I was, for a while there, I was wondering like, okay, all this talking I'm doing, it's not like this guy is telling me anything about me. It's not like he's, I didn't feel like I was learning anything. I was just there talking, and he would ask me questions about, why did you think that? And what do you think about that? And blah, blah, blah. So I didn't feel like I was doing anything. And so finally, after I'd been going there for about, I don't know, 4 months or so, I finally asked him, I said, so what do you think is wrong with me? And he's like, he laughs at me and he says, wrong with you? And he was like, what do you mean? I said, well, why do you think? I'm not doing what I ought to be doing. And he says, well, Sandra, he says, I'll tell you something. He says, I live for my Tuesdays with you. I'm just giving this a Tuesday as a day. He says, I live for my Tuesdays with you. He says, I can't wait till you get here. He says, it's so darn exciting for me to have you come into the office and talk to me. He was like, I don't have any other patients like you. Everybody else is depressed or down or not living their lives or anything like that. He says, but what I think about you is that if I had to put a label on it, he says, you have this thing that I call, or that's called cognitive dissonance. And so he said that cognitive dissonance, from what I understood him to say, what he told me was that my idea of myself, and my actual self was not lined up. It wasn't meeting in the middle. And he says, and you've got to figure out a way to line up your thoughts about yourself with the truth about yourself. So I was like, really? So he says, he says, at a certain point, you have to make peace with what you think is the bad girl. The good girl and the bad girl need to make peace. He says, and you're not at peace with the good girl and the bad girl. And I realized that some of that came from that upbringing that I had, that bullshit teaching that I had that said to me that I couldn't find all of that inside of myself. Yes, Beauty and the Beast. I couldn't find all of that inside of myself. I had to be at war. And so these irreconcilable beliefs is something that we all have. And until we get to a point where we stop trying to be other than we are and make peace with who we actually are, we'll always be at this point in the road, this fork in the road that's saying, who am I? So it's like at a certain point, we have to, all of us, I think, have to stand back and do this thing just like I did and say, behold, and look at the wonders of what God produced in us, as us, and it is us. And so, yes, it becomes all of that that stuff coming together for who we are. And so, I'm so awed by all of these little highways and byways that my life has taken, all the different things that has happened to me and how they come together. And is it the irreconcilable belief? If I could, if we all could just see ourselves as God sees us and stop judging and stop thinking, like, oh, I got to get into heaven, and realize that you're already there. Realize that you're already loved. Realize that you're already accepted. Realize that if you're trying to take this, I gotta cut this piece off because this piece don't quite fit, and I gotta do that. We're basically doing surgery on ourselves, trying to make ourselves fit into some unrealistic identity. Let's remove the blocks to our awareness of love's presence, which is our natural inheritance, right? I mean, if we could just do that, yes, if we could just do that, we would be so much further down the line. You need do nothing. You are already, juicy, wonderful, perfect, beautiful, all those things. Yes, just right. So, so this mistaken idea that we have, this war that we're having up against ourselves, we need to just drop it. Just lay down our weapons and just truly get into this thing. Just get into ourselves. Y'all, I love it, 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 love it. Okay, so am I going over my time? Am I going over my time? Yeah, because this is just so wonderful. Okay, let me read this. Okay, because I see, and Regis is on here, and hey Regis, and everybody is on here typing all this stuff, and you know what? I don't know. Maybe is it for me to read? Okay. Not sure I need to go looking for God. Moment to moment, choosing kindness is about as hard as I want to work. I've been called an atheist because I don't go to church. You know what? And so it's not, like for me, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself that it's not about how other people perceive me. It's not about what other people think about me. I recognize that my family is still in all the traditional religions. I realize that I've got friends that want you to know that they're Christians. I got friends that are Muslims, and it's so funny because I don't know if I was on here when I told you guys that I got a girlfriend, good friend. I love her, adore her, who is Muslim, and during Ramadan, she took me to one of their when they break the fast, that night. She took me to one of those things, and I tell you, I walked in there and I was I had on, and I'm not a small girl, and I had on my mini skirt and I got on my little top, so I had cleavage and everything. I went in there and I ate well and everything, and everybody else is covered head to toe. And for me, it becomes a thing of me just being at peace with me, just being at peace with me. And so what you and how you choose to believe and think, blah, 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 blah. I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm at a place where I'm bringing all of my severed selves together. This thing, I could see peace or pieces, like Dove said, or Dove shared last week. I could see peace or pieces. If I want to, cut myself into all these little pieces and have this person over here and this Sandra over there and blah, blah, that Sandra over there and this Sandra over there. So I got the goody two-shoe Sandra over here, and I got no part of me is a virginal Sandra, but some people think, whatever they want to think, that the goody two shoes does exist. I got all these pieces of myself, and all I need to do is learn how to love all of my pieces. And in loving all of my pieces, I can learn how to love and see all of your pieces and love and accept all of those wonderful pieces too. And stop with all this stuff that would say that something is wrong with any of it. So yes, come to peace within ourselves, acceptance, and love ourselves. Yes, Chris. And so all us, I bless your heart. Thank you for praying for us, because we so appreciate it. We feel surrounded, we feel loved, and I just appreciate it. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. The ocean of love, the wisdom of God, God's grace. Yeah, it's just so wonderful. Um, I'm here. And no matter what highway, no matter what road, no matter what little detour I've taken, it's, if I think that there is some other possibility, some other destination, I probably would be concerned. But I know that in the end, all roads, everything leads us to the same place. It's all God. It's all that love. It's all that together. And there is no place that I can go, nothing that I can do that is outside of this realm of God and God's love for me, and for you, and for this acceptance. I know this. So whether we're going through this war against ourselves, or we think that we're at war, the end result is always certain. The end result is love. And so once we get through with this fictional fight that we're doing, we figure out that at the base of it all is just love. It's just love. It's just love. So what else matters? Nothing. Nothing. What matters, if we distill life down to its very essence, is just love. So when I say that this is a required course, it is. It is. Because all you figure out in the end is just either, it's so funny. All of this stuff, it becomes this thing about, it in the end, what else matters? What else matters? If I forget how it said in the New Testament, it says, if you have done all these things but have not loved, I mean, what is that? What is that? So let us just be about the business of loving. The course is not complicated. None of this is complicated. None of it is complicated. None of it is complicated. Once we recognize the fact that it's all love, all love, all love. What's blocking us? What's blocking us to our awareness of love? Most of the time is just ourselves. It's always just ourselves. We've forgotten who we are. It's just ourselves. That's what's blocking us. That's all there is. Get out of the way. Get out of your own way. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so you guys, yeah, I love experiencing my emotions too. And you know what? That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing for me, because I can talk about the moments in my life, the road that I was on, where I felt absolutely nothing. I was just emotionally numb. I could talk about that particular road, and I remember it well. I don't like that road. I don't like that road. I like the juiciness of emotions and feeling emotions and all that stuff. But that was a short road. And so now I'm on a new road. I'm on a new high. And to some extent, and let me say this, because I keep joking about it. I keep joking, and I jokingly said this. I jokingly said this in front of somebody that came to see my dad the other day. I keep saying, my father always says to me, he was like, if you would just go ahead and get married, I could die in peace. And so I have to recognize who I say that around, because some people are sitting up there thinking like, oh, well, let's do your dad a favor kind of thing. But it becomes this thing of whether or not we're just experiencing love in our relationships, or whether we're experiencing love by spreading love all over the place. Life gives us the lessons, regardless about your choice about relationships and where you are in the context of relationships, whether you're in one or outside of one. Life still gives you the lessons, because this wonderful, huge computer, this huge computer, bigger than you can even imagine. If you can imagine God as being this big, massive computer that is programmed to give you the exact lessons that you need to grow in life, it doesn't matter matter your situation, whether you're on a job, off of a job, in a relationship, off a relationship, wherever you are in life, it's going to find you and teach you the lessons that you need to learn. You'll get the exact course, just tailor-made for your life, whatever it is, and it's all to teach you love. So whether or not, even if you're on an island by yourself, you're going to get the lesson of loving. And that's all there is to it. It's a required course. You can't get around it. So just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Do it till you're satisfied. All right. So this has been Sandra Bishop. My website, you guys, sandrasaidit.com. I'm updating it. You know what? Whether it's done or not, I'm going to update it by the end of the week. Whether it's done or not, I'm just going to let it go. So you'll see a whole brand new website up. And or you can just type in sandrasaidit.com/WP and you'll see it. It's already sitting out there. You can follow me on Twitter at Sam Bishop, like Dove just posted, or you can friend me on Facebook. I'm Sandra D. Bishop or Sandra Thrives, whichever you want to do. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll be here tomorrow, you guys. I'll be here tomorrow. And then again, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. But one of these days I've got to drop off. But I love you. And thank you for taking this journey with me. You guys, thank you. I appreciate your prayers. I truly do. And I love you. So I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. All right. I'm dropping the mic. See ya. Drop off. But I love you and thank you for taking this journey with me. You guys, thank you. I appreciate your prayers. I truly do.
All right. Thank you so much, Sandra. What a wonderful rush that was.
All right, I'm
having you here for this hour. And the good news is Sandra returns tomorrow night. That's right. Wednesday evening, same time, 6 p.m. And I want to thank you for giving that extra time to Teresa. And I did call Sullivan, who's the teacher. And I'll just be here any minute now. And the good news is Sandra returns